Welcome to the Unbuttoned Up podcast, where career talk gets real and a little unbuttoned.
We're here to help you nail that interview, land that promotion, and figure out your next move without sounding like a corporate robot.
We are talking about what people actually think at work while helping you lead stronger and laugh a little bit harder.
So grab your coffee or a cocktail and let's get unbuttoned up.
Hello, everyone. We are back today on the Unbuttoned Up podcast, and we are going to talk about confidence today and why it's so important, and also some of the things that people really struggle with when it comes to confidence. So
I have so much to talk about today. Confidence, this has been the theme of my life for the past couple years. Just having the confidence, not having that imposter syndrome. And what does real confidence look like is something that I'm constantly working on. So I love this topic. I feel like it's something that we all deal with. So I can't wait to get into it. What is confidence? What is real confidence? True confidence?
I think that true confidence is feeling okay to be seen and being okay with how you present yourself, how you're feeling internally. There's so much that goes into this, and I also struggle with this. And I was actually telling Stephanie this morning that, while I was getting ready, I was not having a great hair day today, and I was just letting that kind of affect my confidence today and leaving and walking out the door. And sometimes I struggle with, those little things, and I wonder why, because it's so silly. So that's kind of what I think it is, but what do you think it is?
First of all, Kathryn, you could put a bag on your head and your hair could be standing up straight and you would still look beautiful.
Thanks, Steph.
We are our own worst critics. You're definitely right. Confidence is how we truly feel on the inside and not worrying about other people's validations or letting their judgments affect us because we feel good about who we are.
Absolutely.
And I think this is very relevant in business because in our jobs and in our roles and how people perceive us, I think imposter syndrome it's a real thing.
Yes.
Like, you don't deserve to be where you are today, or how did you get to where you are today? And it's just all these negative thoughts just get in your head and just beat you down.
Absolutely. I also struggle with imposter syndrome, and I know a lot of people who do, and we talk about this, and it's the fear of, not feeling like you belong, or the fear of being seen, I think, in a certain way, right?
Yeah, right.
That's how I understand it. So what do you think contributes to workplace, confidence, and why is that so important in business? And
so I read a book recently, and self-confidence is a huge piece of it, but I also think it boils down to self-worth. The book was called Worthy. Actually, I gave it to you. So good. Anyways, it starts with self-worth. If you have self-worth, then the self-confidence will come. That kind of is like what shows on the outside is the confidence piece. But you have to start with the self-worth, like being kind to yourself, knowing that, you are a good person and you do deserve those titles and those achievements and all the good things that happen, you deserve it. It starts at self-worth and then it will show in self-confidence. And part of it is just being authentic and true and real. Social media has a huge part in this.
Yes, absolutely. And it makes you, compare sometimes, and then you start feeling, oh, well, I'm not good enough. And then your confidence goes down and you feel like you're not worthy, like you said. So yeah, I just started that book and I'm super excited to tell you how I feel about that and what I learned from it. So this is so important. And I think it just, shows trust and credibility too, when you're confident. And confidence is not being right either. I think that some people kind of think the confident people are always people that are right. I think that if you could admit when you're wrong too, that shows confidence. It shows trust, so you can admit to your failures and moving forward too. So what do you think, Steph, are some signs of like confidence versus not being confident, whether it's like verbally or physically?
I think that being self-confident means not taking criticisms personally and, coming back with like defending yourself. Like just take it and, either work on it or know that, maybe it's the other person that is the problem. But not taking things personally, not letting things bother you or get to you. Another thing would just be, being authentic and just being kind to others, like not feeling like you need to put other people down to make yourself feel better. I think that's a huge thing. Like I feel like some mean people just lack self-confidence.
And it comes from, not feeling confident in yourself, so you're putting it on somebody else. And you want to surround yourself with people who are truly rooting for you too behind your back. I was thinking about that the other day too, kind of going along with that a little bit. But yeah, I agree. There's definitely signs like physically and internally, I think, when it comes to confidence. And I think you should talk about your recent experience.
All right. I'm getting vulnerable here. So we had an event on Monday. It was, our first event that we were doing of this kind. It was a big Microsoft event, so a tech event. And I was one of the speakers, and I was speaking about the job market, which is something that we live, breathe, talk about every single day. But of course, public speaking is like the number one fear that like most people have. So, and it's one of mine. But as I was preparing and as I was, practicing, I felt good. I felt confident. Like, I know this information. I'm going to just get up there and talk. But whenever you get up there, of course, you get nervous and whatever. I did the presentation. It was fine. But afterwards, in my head, I was telling myself, that was the worst presentation ever. Why would anyone want to listen to me? That was so cringeworthy. I listened to about 2 seconds of it that I had recorded, and I had to turn it off because I couldn't listen to it. It was so bad. And then I got home and beat myself up a little bit more. The next day, I was like, okay, I'm just going to listen to the whole thing again. And I listened to it in the car. I had a tally sheet on next to me, and I counted all my ums and all the mess ups. So I basically just tore myself apart. Afterwards, I did feel a little bit better, but I was just thinking to myself afterwards, like, why? Why do I do that to myself? It's because
you're your own worst critic, like you
yes,
said.
It's so bad.
And I listened. I was there that day, and Steph did an amazing job. She made a funny point about all the screens that were around, which was great. I mean, she really did a great job, and I didn't even think twice about it. So we really do.
Well, thank you.
Yes. And again, from every experience, people want to learn, hey, how can I maybe present a little bit better next time or whatever, but you were extremely prepared. You did everything perfectly. And I told her, I said, that was amazing. So
thank you, Kathryn. Yes. Wasn't amazing, but it was fine. And I'm going to, do things better next time. I'm always, trying to do better.
You don't need to be better.
But another example of this is I was thinking about it is whenever you give someone a compliment, and one of my automatic responses is like this old thing, like this isn't cute, like kind of putting yourself down, thinking that the other person is just trying to be nice to you whenever they actually truly like your outfit or
we
your
do
hair.
that all the time.
I know. But why? Why can't we just take a compliment and say thank you?
Yes. Thank you. I think that's something that I'm definitely trying to do better is not saying sorries, which, we've talked about a lot, and saying more thank yous than, oh, really? Or I hate my hair today because, of how it looks. So saying more thank yous, being more confident in yourself, and knowing that people really aren't looking at us as closely as we think they are. Is. And hopefully people aren't, because they should be more worried about, themselves and other people too, I think. I think that's a great example to share stuff. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. I was just thinking of another one I was going to say about confidence in the workplace. It really does affect performance. The more confident you are, the better you are going to do at your job. if you're doubting yourself or if you're questioning everything that you're doing, that's going to show in your work. So having that confidence, being confident in what you're doing, the work that you're putting out is going to show, and that's just going to help build you up. You have to be confident in like your day-to-day work.
Yes. And I'll give a quick example of that, because I was talking to one of our leaders that I partner with, and, you know, she was asking me, is he going to accept the role? And I said, you know, he verbally has accepted. However, I can't promise these things. We are, you know, working with people a lot of the time. Life can happen. And so I don't want to overpromise ever. You know, this is our conversation. I feel confident, but I don't want to like promise this. And so we just had this honest conversation, and they totally appreciated that. And they said, you know, hey, I don't know how many times I can tell you where I'm talking with people and they promise things and then they underdeliver, and then I'm super disappointed. And so that really built trust, credibility, just being confident with having that honest conversation, I guess, and just kind of talking that through and being real and all that. So
yeah, I think the more open you are and the more authentic and honest you are with yourself, but also with other people, the more confident you'll be. Because then you're not like hiding things all the time. Right. You're not trying to cover up someone that you're not, or something that you're trying not to let other people see. They like, it's already out in the open.
Yeah, not hiding things. Yes, I agree with that. What about physical confidence? Because we've talked a lot about just like internal too, but physical, I mean, people talk about like posture. Okay, well, you're more like confident. And my grandma, you know, taught me sit at the table, be confident, sit straight. And I think another physical sign of confidence is also just not crossing your arms when you're talking to people, or looking people in the eye when talking to them. There's certain things like that also displays confidence.
Mm-hmm. Which I do cross my arms all the time, only because I don't know what to do with my hands. I feel like I talk with my hands. So I feel like I'm just like doing weird things. So then I'll cross my arms. But then, yeah, I know it's like a sign of being guarded. And so then I try not to. But then I start to feel, what do I do with my hands?
I understand that completely. Those are just some things that I just remember, you know, growing up and my grandma telling me that, or like being the loudest person in the room doesn't display confidence either. No. So it's
right. Actually, that's a good point, because I think confidence is something that is also taught to us like as a kid, like the posture and just little things that you learn from whenever you're little. And then I think that gets ingrained in us. Some of it is valid and real. Like I think posture is a great thing to do regardless, but some of it I feel like is not really the best. And I'm trying to think of a good example of something that's taught to us. I think as women, we're taught, you know, as little girls that, you know, speaking up or being overly confident is not a good thing. So we're taught to kind of be quiet and hold things in. And that's an example of like a bad thing that we're taught as, especially females growing up, on how we should be.
Yeah. And also just being confident with asking questions when you don't know things. And everyone should be doing that. Everyone should feel comfortable with doing that, hopefully, in any workplace if you don't know anything, and being able to tell someone, hey, I don't know this. Can you help me with this or help me understand? And then really applying that is important than asking the same question over and over again, because that will not display confidence, and then people won't trust that you know what you're doing.
I always feel like I'm going to ask the stupid question, which I've learned over time that there is no stupid question, but I feel like I spoke up in a meeting that I had yesterday, and I asked a question, but in my head, before I ask this question, I start getting hot, like physically. I'm like, I'm about to talk. I'm about to say something really stupid. And what if they already talked about this? Although I listened to the whole thing and I heard the whole conversation, so I know they didn't talk about it, but I start getting all these doubts in my head on like, as soon as I speak up, everyone's going to be like, she is so dumb, you know? But I feel like these questions or these things that you put in your head, they're not valid. So then I push them out. And I think it's fine. Like, you're naturally going to have the little like angel and devil, the devil putting the little doubts in your head, like how you're so horrible, do this and like, don't do that. Just push it away and like, no, you got this. You can do it.
You can do it, Steph. And you have the hot flashes. I will tell you, I went through a period and there's times where it comes back every once in a while where I feel like I'm actually going to like throw up or pass out when I'm about to ask a question, or if I speak up in a meeting, and it's the craziest feeling and it's that anxiety coming in. But then there's more often than not, I'm feeling really confident and I can ask these, but everyone has like those days or they're really busy. So I think it's totally normal to not feel confident all the time. And some people can have these moments. But yeah, I mean, everyone has them. So the people who are walking around like, oh, I'm so confident and I know I'm right about everything. No, they're not. So I think that's important too.
Right. The loudest person in the room is probably the least confident person in the room. And that, you know, calm, quiet person is very confident, most likely.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not trying to prove to people that they're someone that they're not.
I agree with that. What about just talking through like interviews and feedback from interviews with clients? How often do you think confidence comes up in feedback?
I think that if a person goes into an interview very confident, but they're missing some skills, they can get the job over someone who has every single skill that doesn't show the confidence. I think it comes up all the time. I think it's one of the most important thing that people look for. It is your first impression, is how you present yourself, how you walk into a room, looking someone in the eye, shaking their hand. That all shows confidence, and just being able to speak about yourself and your skills confidently goes a long ways.
Yes, and I will agree with that. I think it's part of every single feedback call that I have as well. And like, hey, they're either not confident in their skills or they're not confident, you know, speaking up or being a part of this collaborative workplace that we have. They're going to be more so like heads down. You know, I mean, these are some things that we talk about all the time. And doing research on companies before you meet with them shows confidence. You're very excited about this. You're reassuring them. You're coming off as confident to them when you do stuff like that. I think it's one of the most important things.
100%. And not just even in a job interview, but also in personal relationships. Whenever you're meeting someone or dating or meeting someone for the first time, confidence is sexy. You don't want someone who's not confident. Confidence goes further than looks, right?
Yes. I had a buddy the other day ask if I could go up and introduce him to a girl. And even like hearing just some of those, like him, you know, being unsure about like, oh, can I really do this? It's dating, like you said, going up, having those conversations. And it definitely, we have Bernie. Our dog Bernie in the room. He's the best. But I agree. I mean, it's in every part of our lives, I think. Confidence and just feeling good about yourself is what it really comes down to. And being okay with how you're being seen is what I'll go back to. So any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate your point on being prepared, like for anything that you're going to do. Like whenever I was preparing for the conference, or you're preparing for an interview, or preparing for a date, no matter what you're doing, just doing your research, knowing everything that you can going into it, boost that confidence.
Boost that confidence. All right.
Everything that you do, boost that confidence. So that way, whenever you're there, you're not faking it. You're more prepared and you feel more confident.
Yes. And speaking of faking it, like, yes, fake it till you make it is a real thing. Like you have to kind of tell yourself, I can do this. Even if you haven't before, I guess that's what I'm talking about. And before any job interview, I'll tell you, I seriously look myself in the mirror and I'm like, you can do this. And I'm known for doing jumping jacks before things that I am doing for the first time.
I would love to see this, a video of
that
you
I'm
doing
nervous
this.
about. Seriously, because I'm like, okay, I can do this, and it gets me kind of in that excited, confident feeling. So whatever you have to do to fake it till you make it, or really believe in yourself, you have to do that. So this is one of my favorite topics, I think, that
I feel like I could talk forever about confidence, because it's something that I'm always working on, something that we all deal with. It's just always there.
Yes.
Every day. I'm just, telling myself to be confident. I wanted to say one more thing, is that every new thing that you do in life, a new, like a promotion, a new experience, a new anything, is something that you're going to be not sure about because you've never done it before, which is why, I think faking it until you make it, or just taking that step and just being confident that it will work out, or even that promotion that you've never done before. Like, you're never going to get that promotion if you're going to be scared and just stay back where you're comfortable. So just being confident in those next steps and being not afraid for what's next.
Not afraid for what's next. I love that. I couldn't agree more, Steph. So we would love to hear from you all. If there's things that you're struggling with yourself, in terms of confidence, let's hear how you're feeling, and we would love to talk about that. Or if there's certain things that you do that pumps you up, whether it's jumping jacks or preparing for a meeting that might help other people, we would love to hear some of those things too. So
absolutely.
Remember to always stay curious and stay bold.
And as always, a little unbuttoned.